Right then guys, it's Lambretta Vlog Time. I've made a new purchase today for the biking, and it is these gloves. I was looking online at heated bike gloves. If you've had a look, I'm sure you'll know they're pretty damn expensive, i.e. around upwards of 80 quid, shall we say. Some of them are over a £1. So I went into J&S Motorcycle Supplies, you know, the clothing shop in Leeds. And they did have some. They were like 120 odd quid anyway. They were even more expensive than online. But I did want to just try a pair on, see what size I wanted. But they were just too dear. And as it turns out, they didn't have any that ran on batteries. They all, well, sorry, they did, but in a sense, they ran on the bike battery, you know. They sort of attached to the battery you have on board. Now, as you know, I haven't actually got one on this. Lambretta's didn't, well, this one anyway, didn't have a battery as standard, and I did actually bang a little one on just to use for the horn, but I don't like the idea of having to attach myself to the bike sort of thing. I'm sure they come unplugged if you fell off or anything like that, but you know, it just seems a bit impractical to me. So I'd rather not do it that way. So I wanted some battery ones anyway, but they didn't have any. The guy were quite helpful, quite helpful to me, and said you could try in Maplins because they do like heated clothing and that, like vests and what have you, bits of stuff. And they had these gloves, right? They were £9.99, so I thought they'd got to be worth a try. So I've been and bought myself a pair. Right, so they're not actually motorcycle gloves. They're just like outdoorsy type gloves, but they should be alright, I guess. First impressions, they fit quite well, but they don't have any sort of grippy bit on the fingers or anything, so they're a little bit different to my normal ones. The control that I've got is not quite as good as I'm used to. So they're a little bit slippery, but they were cheap. Further to that, they have got a heating element on actually on the back of the hand, but already I can feel that they're not offering as much protection from the wind as a normal pair of bike gloves, which is, you know, to be expected really. And at the end of the day, they were £9.99. So I'm going for a bit of a bez just to see if my hands stay warm like any longer than my other gloves usually allow. Just sort of get an impression of if they're actually going to be any use to me. I would have preferred if the heating element went all the way to the fingertips, but as I keep saying, they were £9.99. So I'm going to see if they do it for me, basically. With the weather getting a little bit better, i.e. not snowing and not snowing and raining, I could realistically be riding the bike to work in this weather. If my hands didn't get so very cold all the time. So I'm going to have to go for like a little bit of a ride. It's usually about half an hour's journey to work. So I'm going to go for a bit of a spin. Nice long ride, I think. And just see if they sort of make any difference. They're quite comfortable. They're nice and soft and that, but they don't offer much protection, as I say, if I was to have an accident, but I'm just going to have to see how I get on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not really appropriately dressed for this either. I've just finished work and went straight to the garage and got the scooter out. So I haven't got like any thermals on. I usually put my long johns on and shit, and I haven't. So if anything, I'm going to be a little bit colder than usual. But the test I'm doing, obviously, is just to see if they're any good for my hands. It says on the box that they warm up to around 40 degrees in around 5 minutes, and to be quite honest with you, I can't feel really any heat from them whatsoever. I've had them on for well, a good 10 minutes anyway. But I suppose when it's trying to, you know, when it's contesting against the wind chill that I'm obviously exposed to, you know, it's going to be a strange sort of test. It's going to be difficult to tell. So that's it really. Thought I'd let you know what I've been up to. I haven't fixed the speedo problem that I was having. I don't know if I actually uploaded that video. I think I focused it up in the end, but I was having some crazy noises coming from the front end, which I established was the speedo, because the needle on the speedo were just flying up and down, and it was just like this strange sort of whirring noise, which I'm assuming is to do with that. So all I've really done is just disconnect the speedo for now. It's not really a problem not having a speedo. It's, if you're going through speed cameras and stuff, it could be problematic, but as long as there's cars around you, just sort of match their speed, or just be really, really careful and just make sure you're going really slow. So yeah, I've just disconnected the speedo for now. I will have a look at it. It's probably something to do with the speedo drive, which is on the inside of the hub. It's only got like plastic, it's like a plastic gear sort of thing, shall we say. And that spins, and it's connected to something called a worm drive, which spins obviously at the rate of the front wheel, transfers up a square cable to the speedo itself. So it's just going to be something basically to do with that, and it's not a big deal. I can repair all of that. New speedo drive will be less than 20 quid, and if it turns out to be the actual speedometer, they're only about 20-25 quid, so it's not really a problem. I've been looking at a new exhaust as well, priced at 170 quid, which is supposed to sort of give it all a bit more power throughout the range. It's not like a really peaky exhaust, and it's not like a low downy sort of torquey exhaust either. It's a happy medium. So planning on getting one of those when I get paid. I'll do a little vid actually when I get that. Bang it on one of the maintenance DVDs, maintenance video that I've been doing. Videos, sorry. Just showing you sort of how to get on with basic bits of stuff. So fitting a new exhaust is a worthwhile little task, so I'll do a little video of that when I get it. I think I'm just going to order that on payday, which is in about, I don't know, 20 days or something. Get myself one of them on board, see if it does anything. I think it will, to be honest, from the reviews and looking at the it's like a little dyno graph of that exhaust versus the what's sort of the market leading exhausts, which are the JL3 and JL4 exhausts. And sort of tap speed exhausts and stuff. And it's you know, it's a comparative graph showing the JL3 and JL4 versus this one, and this one's just much higher and rounder sort of line on the graph, which, I mean, I'm no expert with stuff like that, but fundamentally with dynographs, basically it's like obviously on graph paper. So basic fundamentals of it are the more complete squares, shall we say, you could colour in underneath the line is you know, the better, if that makes any sense. The higher and wider the line on the graph, the more power basically that there is. So from looking at the graph that they provided with that, it's worlds away. It's worlds better than like I said, the market leaders. or the most popular anyway, so it looks alright. I haven't actually read any reviews online. I could go and have a look at some of them, or you guys feel free. The exhaust is called a TSR Evo Lambretta exhaust. They look pretty nice. Well, it doesn't look too much different to mine, to be honest. It's they do a mild steel one, which is painted in matte black, or a stainless steel one. Now I'm going to get the mild steel one. So it's just matte black with a polished stainless end can. So they look cool. They look pretty smart. Hopefully it'll sound good and perform better than the one I've got on now. So it's got to be worth a try. Got to be worth a try. And they're quite reasonably priced at 170 quid. The JLs that I was just referring to, they're about 150 to 200 used. And this one, all being well, should be better than that, and it's brand new. So I'm gonna get one. Right, I am starting to feel the cold now on my bloody fingers. It's mainly my thumbs underneath, because sort of like underneath there, they're just totally exposed. My fingers aren't quite as cold as they usually seem to be, but they're certainly not toasty warm anyway, which I was kind of hoping they were going to be. But like I said before, I've spent a tenner on them, so if they're no good for riding around on the bike with, they'll be fine for just cold days basically, where you're not actually flying along with the wind chill. But yeah, my thumb is on the right hand is getting pretty cold now, and I can start to feel it in my fingers a bit. So whether or not they're actually doing anything, I don't know. I certainly can't feel any heat. So things aren't looking great for them so far, are they? I'll get back at the end of the vid and tell you what the verdict is, but the mid tests impressions that I'm having now are not great, to be honest. I think, to be honest guys, I can fairly safely say that these aren't really any good for riding around on a bike with. I think, to be honest, my hands are probably colder than they would be if I just had my normal bike gloves on. At least they're, you know, designed half with the intention of you flying along on a bike, whereas these obviously aren't. My thumb on the right hand particularly is getting a little bit on the painful side now, to be honest, so it's not a good sign, is it? I haven't been riding that long. All in all, probably been out for, I don't know, 20 minutes now. And as I said, my as I said, yeah, my usual commute to work is about half an hour, give or take, so if they're already letting me down after 20 minutes, I think they're probably no good. So yeah, so I'll leave it at that, to be honest. That's all I really wanted to come out and do, and just like obviously do a little vlog just so you could see what I've been up to. But yeah, I can fairly categorically say they're no good. But for a tenner, it had to be worth a try, didn't it? Had to be. And at the end of the day, there's still a pair of gloves. So, I'll wrap it up there, boys. Thanks for watching as usual. Subscribe if you like this kind of thing, because this is the kind of thing that I do. Give it a thumbs up if you feel that way inclined. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next one.